Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is the quest for spirulina here on the west coast of Vancouver Island, in Canada, British Columbia, and Victoria. Alright, so this is the ocean here, and there's a lot of spirulina that grows near the ocean, especially where there's sitting water like ponds such as these. Now these ponds here that I'll show you do not have any spirulina here in these ponds, but when I find the spirulina, I'm going to add them to these ponds, and therefore then these ponds will have spirulina, and I may add a couple different spirulinas in these ponds. Now here's another smaller pond here. All amazing ponds here, freshwater ponds, a little bit of salt water but mostly freshwater. Another big one here, quite nice and deep, channels right out to the ocean there, so this is probably connected to a spring as well. Now the blue-green algae, we're going to be on the search here. We're going to scour the beach here on the rocks, and we're going to find some spirulina here, living spirulina in some of these ponds up here that are coming up here. So I'm going to walk along the beach here. We'll see what we can find. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see floating in there, some blue-green algae right there floating on the top of the surface. Now this is one kind of blue-green algae, spirulina, that is not attached to the bottom of the pond or the rocks on the sides. This is a floating algae, and I've been coming to this pond for a couple weeks now, harvesting the spirulina here. So I'm going to leave the rest of this spirulina here to grow and replenish. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are, literally 100 feet away or so. I didn't see this pond before. I was kind of hiding there, and this has got amazing blue-green algae. This is the same kind of blue-green algae, also the floating blue-green algae right here. So I will harvest some of this here right now. I'll put it into a little glass jar, but I am running out of time here. I gotta do a few things today, so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to actually film. Oh, wait a minute. No, this stuff is attached here. Wow, this is amazing. Let's see what this looks like here. It looks like the same kind, but it is attached to the bottom there. So this is really nice, brilliant color here. This is beautiful stuff right here. Amazing spirulina. So yes, I'll harvest this, and I'll bring back some of the water as well. Now the water does have bacteria and different microbes and mosquitoes and things like that, larvae growing in there. Now that stuff is typically okay as well, and it helps it to grow. It's still an experimentation to see the best way to make this spirulina and have it as natural as possible still. So this will be an experiment. Keep watching future videos as well once I perfect the technique. There's also another spirulina growing in there. You can see right there. That is more of a saltwater spirulina, because this does get some salt water as well. All right, so this is taste the water. It's quite salty right now, but it may be fed by a spring, so it may flush out a lot of the salt as the spring feeds this little pond here. So look at this amazing stuff here. I'll harvest some of this and bring it back. Alright, and ladies and gentlemen, here we are about maybe 1,000 yards away. This is another type of blue-green algae that was also in the other one. This is a saltwater blue-green algae that grows very close to the ocean right here like that. The ocean is just right there. So when the tide is really high, it comes up and washes in here. Now this stuff may also be fed by it looks like a spring right there, a small spring that's feeding this fresh water, and that's why this algae is also able to grow as well. You can see little bits of this here. This is that floating algae. It's also a bit there and a bit there. It's different places in the pond. That's because much like the other pond we just saw, this one has fresh water and salt water. So as the tide goes high, really high, it gets a bit of salt water, and it's the perfect ratio of the amount of spring fresh water from the natural spring coming in. And so soon we'll see if this may also have the floating other variety of blue-green algae. Now I have already harvested this one at home as well, so I'll show you that one. This one is also attached to the bottom floor here, so You bring it up and it's a really brilliant green color like that. It's really awesome, amazing stuff. And this is all good for drying and powdering up, as well as eating and putting in salads. All these blue-green algae are good for salads and dressings and soups, all raw food stuff. Amazing stuff, alright? So we'll go on to the next pond here. And ladies and gentlemen, yet another, about 200 feet away, another pond here, Spirulina, blue-green algae. Now this is fed by a spring as well. There's a lot of springs here on this part of the beach here, little small ones that trickle in a little bit of clean, clear, fresh water. And look how close this one is to the ocean right there. Look, the ocean is literally, and this is not high tide, so this is very much salt water. But then this blue-green algae is a freshwater algae, but it can grow with salt water too. It is a combination of fresh and salt water. But because there is a freshwater spring there feeding it, the fresh water, you can see that spring coming up through here, and you look up higher over here, you see the water trickling down over here, another pond up here, and right here you can definitely see where the little spring is leaching fresh water in here, and even growing grasses and things down here. So one of the common things with the spirulina is the natural springs that feed it fresh, oxygenated, structured water for it to grow. Okay, and ladies and gentlemen, yet another kind of spirulina. This is the real spirulina that tastes just like this powdered stuff you buy, alright? Now that's just a little trickle over here coming down from a spring as well. This is about 500 feet or so away from the last one. Look at this amazing rock right here with all those beautiful craters and stuff in there. Very awesome. But then you come down here and look at this spirulina. I only discovered this one yesterday, and this one, when you taste it, put your finger in this stuff and taste it, tastes just like the real spirulina that you buy. This one is also spring fed, so the water does not have a lot of microbes like mosquitoes and things, because it's very fresh water still being fed through here. And it's got the perfect ratio of shade from this rock here and underneath there for this to grow. And this is one of the only places I found this kind of spirulina. I'm going to harvest a nice about maybe 1/3 of this spirulina right here, bring it home and cultivate it. Well, eventually I'll learn how to cultivate it and keep it growing, so I can just have it at home as well. So I'll harvest some of this now. Alright, we're ready to harvest this. I'm just going to grab a nice big clear glass jar here. This was an olives jar here, I believe, so this is got some good energy in it. And basically we'll just, you know, get in that nice spirulina. They're like little bubbles. They're almost like frog eggs or something, but this is the spirulina. Get in that just deep enough to get in a good amount. There it is. The real spirulina, folks. This is the real stuff. Look at that. Beautiful, amazing stuff here. So we got some real spirulina here. I'll get a little bit more of the water as well. I'll use a smaller glass jar here to fill her up a bit more. Grab that. Alright. And it's always, of course, good for sustainable harvesting of all things to leave a nice, at least half the amount that you got from it as well, so that it can grow back in a nice way, and you can come back and harvest more. A beautiful color. Now check this out, right from the nature, the best spirulina in the world, folks. Right here. Let me get right down. Now that is the real stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Living spirulina from nature, right there. Alright, very, very good. Very, very good. little bit more of that. Alright, that's about right. We're good. Love this stuff. This is great. We got the real deal here. The real meal deal. Alright. That's it for this one so far. And ladies and gentlemen, yet another blue-green algae right here. Alright. This one is also growing from a spring as well. And I'm not going to harvest any of this one. It would be fine too. They're all good for eating. But there's another source just another few hundred feet away here with some really clean, a bigger spring which feeds and cleans the water really nice. I'm going to get some of that water here. But yet another variety. What is that? About 5 now blue-green algae, all within about 10 football fields at the most. Alright, so the ocean could be a good source of finding this stuff, especially where there's a lot of big rocky areas, and especially if there's springs around. Alright, now we're going to harvest it here, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are, we're going to harvest this amazing blue-green algae right here. It's got all beautiful structured water that's oxygenated, that's structured from the algae absorbing it in and transforming the nutrients and sending out the chlorophyll. It's oxygenated, it's chlorophyll, it's structured. It's a very high integrity, very high nutrient water, rich right here, fed by the spring, as well as flushed out by the ocean as well to keep it nice and clean. Alright, let's taste it here. It's not very salty at all, almost no salt, so there's a lot, and wow, does it ever taste good as well. That tastes like the real spirulina as well. Let's get another little bit of this going here. Some of this water going, the real deal again. The real deal here, folks. Let me get down here so you can see again. Here we go. Oh yeah. That's the real deal. Alright. We found it. So we're going to harvest lots of this water for growing this spirulina back at home as well. And it's got a little bit of a green tinge from the chlorophyll. There's also some different bugs and microbes in there, which are also good. They're found in nature, and you look at all kinds of animals that live in swamps, and they're breathing that and they're drinking that, and they do just fine. So we gotta switch our mind around thinking that it's dirty because there's bugs and stuff. It's just not the way it is in nature. So there we go. We got a good amount of water there to bring back. All right, put the lid on. Oh well, might as well throw some of this in there as well. And I like to try to get it right near the roots there, because near the roots there's actually darker green. Now the darker the green is in all raw foods like leafy greens, is the more chlorophyll content, the more vitamins, the more minerals. Now this water also has living antioxidants, living enzymes, and living life force in the water as well. So it's powerful in so many ways. All right, so I'm going to harvest more of this here. And it'll all grow back as well. It's always growing more and more. All right, so we'll leave little patches as well to keep it going. So we got a whole bunch there. Look at that, whole bunch. Amazing blue-green algae. And it can just grow just like this at home, and you can use the water for drinking, for enemas, for facials, body rubs, for baths, all kinds of applications for this stuff. Alright, so there we go. Got that one, and we'll just grab a little bit more of the spirulina here. I'll walk down a little further over there. I'll give you the shot over there, show you how close that ocean actually is right there. And I'll harvest some of this blue-green algae right over here. And if I look at some of this here, some of it is slowly starting to die here. Now that could be due because now we're in the month of the last week of October. So it's getting colder and colder at night, and this stuff is out of the water over here, so it's starting to brown a little bit. All right. Now that's okay as well. You can have some of that too. It's nice to get the really, really fresh, good stuff, but it's all good as well. And so we're going to get a nice, good amount of this stuff here in this jar to bring home as well. And we'll dry some up as well and powder it as well. Make our own powdered spirulina. See how it tastes. This one is really dark here. Really dark. I got the dark stuff right here, right in the roots of it there. So that's got some really high vitamin and mineral content right there. Alright, we got it, folks. Check it out. Amazing dark green stuff in here we got. Look at this stuff here. Get a better look at it. Amazing. Alright. So we're good. We've done our journey here in the harvest down here for harvesting the blue-green algae down here on the beach here on the west coast of Vancouver Island in Victoria. And next we'll be back at home, and we'll do the production of how to grow it at home, how to dry it as well, and all this kind of stuff. We'll see you back at home, folks. Alright, thanks for watching so far, ladies and gentlemen. That was the harvesting part, as well as you can come there and drink the fresh water, or just come and take the water and bring the water home and refrigerate it.